Hi, I'm Mike Noter. This is a Mike for Spokane update for July 12th, 2015. We're looking at the Spokane Sanctuary City status, which has become a controversial issue in our community. Tomorrow night, the Spokane City Council is going to be looking at this initiative that they want to put on the ballot. They've submitted the signatures to the state, and it's likely to be on the ballot in the fall. But the City Council has an opportunity here to deal with the matter directly, and it doesn't necessarily have to go to the ballot. So tomorrow night, Monday night, I'm encouraging Spokane citizens to kind of tune into City Council or go down there and maybe express your opinion on this matter, because this is something that affects the Spokane community in profound ways. Now, last fall, I believe the City Council passed this sanctuary city status, and it prevents law enforcement from asking whether when they stop people if they're a citizen or not, and that's a problem for a lot of ways. Also, it tends to advertise for illegal immigrants or people that are not here legally to come here and get benefits from taxpayer-funded benefits, which they're not really entitled to. Not that we don't want them to have them or we don't want to help people, but there is a process here that we need to look at first. Now, the City Council to circumvent law enforcement or to impose these mandates on the community is a bit of a problem. We don't really look for Spokane law enforcement to handle the immigration issue. They don't necessarily have to ask for immigration status. This isn't a police state. But if the police are trying to do their job and they think it's relevant to know if someone's a citizen or not, we don't know who these people are. They're entering into business contracts. Who knows what they're doing? If they're going to come here and they live, we want them to be citizens. If they can't be citizens, for whatever reason of the process, then we have a problem with the federal government and the state government and their immigration reform stuff that they haven't taken care of for decades. And that's where the City Council should be focusing their lobbying efforts, not mandating that they're supposed to be ignorant of these matters. Now, we're seeing a rise in crime in cities across the country suddenly, and we've had a big explosion of immigrant. We're not deporting people like we used to. We're getting a lot of young kids coming in that are being offered amnesty, and we're seeing a big rise in diseases and stuff that were pretty well stamped out or more associated with third world countries. Now, it's been a controversial issue about vaccines and kids in schools, and parents have to vaccine their kids, whether they're going to go into schools. And there's a big argument about why you would want your child vaccinated, and most people probably do want their kids vaccinated, but not all vaccinations are the same. And you're really asking for a government to direct entities. They're not medical doctors here, and if your doctor says that particular vaccine may not be right for you, because these things tend to be a stew of stuff. There's a vaccine and then put other stuff in there, and not always quite what we think. And the warning on these vaccines are pretty serious. So if the government mandates they have the vaccines and then they get sick and they lose a child, is the state responsible, and will the taxpayer have to pay for that? That's not the larger issue that I'm talking about, though. Is the reason I bring it up is that the Spokane City Council was very vocal about the need for vaccination, but then they completely ignored this influx of immigrants that have no accountability. We don't know who they are. They're coming in unvaccinated and they're walking around our community. Which one's more dangerous? Someone coming from South America or coming from Central America? Bad nutrition, bad health practices, no visible means of support, living in the community, or a parent who's lived here all their lives and doesn't, you want to get into their relationship with their doctor and you don't want to have any relationship with these immigrants? That's not quite right. I'm in favor of immigration. I think it's great. I have no problem. If it was the whole community was Mexican, it would be no problem for me. If they're citizens, if they're not citizens, and I'm the only one that has to follow the law, and they're exempt, that's a problem. So if you live in the Spokane area, Monday night, July 13th, at 6 o'clock, I believe the City Council is going to be taking this matter up, and I think they should reverse their sanctuary city policy. There are senators. I think Senator Rand Paul is going to introduce legislation that will deny all federal funding to anybody that doesn't has a sanctuary city, because they're saying that they don't have to follow the laws. Everybody has to follow the laws unless you're an illegal immigrant, and then you're above the law. That's the wrong message. And we don't want to advertise that you're coming here for freebies, because it sets the wrong tone. We want people coming here legally. And if they can't come here legally and the city council wants more immigrants, then they need to take their lobbying efforts and talk to our U.S. senators and representatives and tell them to get this immigration thing straightened out. Because when they come here, they have to have status, legal status to engage in business. You don't hold your citizens, your tax-paying public, who pays for the city councils to represent them. These illegal aliens, whatever you say, when they come here, they're not paying taxes. That is not the responsibility of the city council and the mayor. You know, they're not here to be our moral conscience. They're here to represent the people that elected them. Their concern for the immigrants is noble, I share that. But that is not their duty as a city council and elected representative. Their duty is to the citizens, the taxpaying public first, and to ensure our safety and do what we can to keep our citizens and our families and get a control on crime, and make sure that when their people are coming through this area, if they're going to be here for a while, we want to know who they are and why. If we're not looking for a police state, but if you're not a citizen of this country, I'm not so sure we want you living here. Now, there's exceptions. You come and visit, exchange students, they can come visit. I want worldwide interaction. It's a global market. We want to know people from all over the world. We're not here to discriminate. But there is a standard, and if you're not going to hold the illegal immigrants to the law, then there is no reason to hold the individual citizens to the law either. There's no reason that someone from outside this country has more freedom than the tax-paying public. So thank you for considering this update. Please head down to City Hall, or at least tune in tomorrow night if you can, and let them know that a sanctuary city is, it sends the wrong message. We want fairness, and we want it equitable under the law. Thanks.